Hi everyone! We're back for day 2 of the live challenge. Yay! Whoa, that's so cool. So I am going to invite Kirsten on. Okay, is she coming on? There we go. Hi!
Hey Lauren, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm just going to set myself up here. Of course, we thought it was all okay, but
Oh, hi,
sometimes,
Britt. So happy you're here with us. Britt is a projector as well and a fellow 5-1.
ooh. All right, well, I'm going to start off today. Hey everyone, nice to see you all. I'm Kirsten, and today I'm going to stand in my power and say I'm the class act of this little what can we call ourselves, Lauren? We haven't actually labelled it yet, but we are Cosmic Harmony HD. So I'm the other half. And yeah, I'm a role model who leads and nurtures her tribe. You know, think of that Leo energy, that Leo vibe. And I really know how to take care of my clients. And the way I do this is through helping business owners who are stuck and try and help them find their hidden potential and shine through. And I've done that because this is where I've been, right? And usually our best gifts are some of the things that we've had trial and errors through. And Lauren, I'll let Lauren introduce herself, but she is a powerhouse and has been through her 7-year cycle of human design. Now she's not feeling 100%, so we're just going to give her a little bit of a rest today. But Lauren, I would really like you to share who you are. And hey, Janice, good to see you on here. And just share a little bit, and then we'll go back to me today.
Yeah, thanks so much, Kirsten. I appreciate it. I had a very long weekend. It was amazing. I was at a workshop. But as we know in human design, I'm a projector, and when we try to keep up with the energy world, we can kind of like pay the consequences after. So my vehicle is resting right now and catching up from all the energy that I was taking in and amplifying. Um, so a little bit about me. I'm a clairvoyant and I laser into people really deeply. I see things about people, situations, patterns that most people can't see. I just know stuff by just tapping into things. That's really the gift of being a clairvoyant. I have been a podcast host with Vicky McHale. We had our podcast or exclusive. I've been a guest speaker on her story circle TV. I spoke at their international conference before. I've also been a presenter in Spiritual Centers of America, was on the podcast of Sacred You, our Sacred University. Anybody who's familiar with Raquel and Davidian and their amazing human design business and school and teachings, I've been on their platform. And now I am a co-owner with Kirsten of Cosmic Harmony HD, and I own my own coaching business called Transfiguration Coaching.
Thank you, Lauren. And I'd love to, yeah, if anyone has been a part of any of those circles with Lauren before, just pop in and let us know how you've met Lauren or how you know Lauren. So Cosmic Harmony, what we do, we feel like we're visionary leaders and we help you connect with your authentic self. And this is through our programs, and our latest one is Navigating the Star Codes. And we fuse different modalities together to allow you to see what those hidden codes are within yourself. And that's things like human design, gene keys, astrology. We obviously bring in our own modalities as well, Lauren being a life coach, me being an empowerment coach, leader as well. And we help you find those unique strengths so that you can break through some of those blocks and really align with what it is that you're aiming to be or wanting to be or manifesting to be, but do it through with clarity and ease as well. And so we have this little relationship name that we've allowed ourselves to step in and understand more about our archetypes. And mine's actually the king, and Lauren's is the oracle. And the reason why we've got this is because when we looked at our star codes, they made so much more sense to us about the king being the leader, the ruler, wanting to instruct everyone, wanting to help everyone, but also give them the tools and the people for them to be able to do what they need to do. And then Lauren really being that visionary and being able to see far beyond what other people see and give them those insights and understanding on how they can use that. So that's a little bit about us.
Oh, can I
Lo-
mention one thing?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
please
so
do, Lauren.
archetypes are so powerful, and I'm so glad that we are using archetypes because part of the workshop that I did this weekend, we tapped into new archetypes for ourselves. And it's usually when we call on an archetype, it could be a representation of our gifts, right? And it can also be a representation of what we are wanting to step into more. And so the archetype that I was co-creating with my group, it was definitely out of my comfort zone, but it's like it helps us bridge the gap of like, okay, this energy, these qualities are really going to support me in taking the leaps that I want to take. And our facilitator used a really good example with Beyonce. She created this archetype called Sasha Fierce, and so she would really tap into this archetype when she would go on stage and perform. And then the more that she did it, the more that she got to embody this archetype, and then they became one.
Mm, amazing.
So we have a couple comments coming in. So Britt says, Heart, yes, you do, Lauren. I learned so much from Lauren. I met her in 2013 at WorldWorks. So blessed by you, lovely Lauren. Oh, thank you, Britt. I'm blessed by you as well. And she said, oh, yes, I finished reading Women Who Run with Wolves. Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
Thank you, Brett. So, Lauren, you've already mentioned some things that came up for you in this past week, and there was something that we were discussing the other day that, yeah, I found quite profound. And you mentioned these four key words of acknowledge, apologize, amend, and recommit. Um, and it's interesting, right? Because I'm going through the Gene Keys Venus sequence officially my second time around. And in the Gene Keys, at the moment, it's about allow, accept, and embrace. And there's such a synchronicity with these elements of these words that we were talking about. And it's just so interesting because I feel like there's a lot of synchronicities with everything, right? And when you see it and you see these patterns and you see how you can formulate these together, you'll use your logical mind to be able to explain it. And the reason why I'm saying this is because this is where the sun is this week in 17. And the 17 is connected to the 62. So we're going to talk more about that for you shortly. So through the Gene Keys approach, it's a journey of contemplation and inquiry, gentleness and compassion through allowing, accepting, and embracing. So I don't know if there's anything more that you wanted to add in regards to the acknowledge, apologize, amend, and recommit, Lauren. But I just, yeah, thought it was really fascinating that it's so similar to some of these things that I'm going through. And I'm in the Southern Hemisphere and you're in the Northern
Yeah.
Hemisphere. And yeah, I didn't know about, what the program was going to be that you were going to be learning on the weekend. So I found that really fascinating.
Yeah, I think it just both mirrors like personal responsibility and accountability and staying in those higher vibrations, right?
Mm,
Instead of going into victim mentality. Because we can
mm,
either we go back and forth,
mhm,
right? But when we're on the higher frequencies of ownership, responsibility, accountability, reflecting, we have more potential to move forward
mm,
with the situation and not be dragged and attached and set to the past, because that's what happens when we
mm,
go into blaming, victimization.
mhm,
Everything is that this person's fault, that situation's fault, right? And it's all the ego will always get a kick out of it. There's always a payoff.
mm.
We want to be right about something, right? But then when we can shift
Yes.
into these higher ways of thinking and reflecting, it's like we're dissociating from these stories, these things that no longer serve us, and then stepping into something that's new. But the lower frequencies and the blame and all that stuff, it can be so habitual,
Hmm.
and so it really takes deep, deep contemplation and practice to continue to shift
Yes.
this. And as we're in gate 17 right now, it is really about reflecting, right? It's really in the mind, it's our awareness, it's off the ajna. So Britt
Yeah.
says, allow, accept, and embrace. Thank you for that. Yes.
You're
I love
welcome.
being I love being responsible. It's so empowering. Yes, absolutely. I heard authenticity is the highest vibration, even more than love. Surprised by that. Ooh, yeah,
That's
that
a
that
that's
also
really
came
good.
up
That's
for me this
powerful.
weekend too. Like authenticity is super important.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, so we're going to go into some of the key points that we're going to cover today. And some of them are, so of course, about the sun being in gate 17, the gate of opinions.
I'm
Oh, we love this one.
right. Da, da, da.
And yes, it is in my profile.
Both of ours,
The
yeah.
coming out of gate 25, and about breathing, learning to breathe and going into 17, the earth being in the program partner of 18, some synchronicities, some really fun facts about those who've ruled. I can't wait to share this one with you, and what's in store for next week and the prizes as well.
Yeah, so make sure that you stay to the end to hear about all of that too.
All right, shall we kick off then, Lauren? Are we ready?
Yeah, so I really want to get your guys' feedback with how last week was for Gate 25 with you. Just a little recap. It is the gate of universal love. And as I was talking to Kirsten about this on Monday, I shared with her during the workshop that I had a moment when I was like having trouble breathing. And it was right at that point where 25 was going into gate 17, and gate 25 is all about the breath. And I was like, oh, wow. And she was like, okay, don't be so much in your mind about it, because 17 is in the mind, right? And 25 is all about the breath and anchoring in the breath, and how the breath really helps us clear out stuff and grounds us. So I thought it was really interesting that that happened.
Yeah. And the synchronicity of that is that I had been speaking to someone that morning that had been rushed to hospital because they couldn't breathe, and they were having an issue with the breath. And yeah, I think because they were so much in their mind about things and there was so much going on for them, they hadn't taken that moment to stop and breathe. And I've learnt this through many situations of mine, and I'm still learning every day, that I have to stop and allow myself the space and time to be able to actually have some really deep breaths. And Lauren and I were doing this before we came on, to give ourselves the space to be able to hold this space for you all. And yeah, I have this really great app. It's a free app. It's called the Triple Flame. It's actually a Gene Keys free app. It's fantastic. For those of you that want the details, just put in triple flame, and I'll send you the link details. It's fantastic. It's really beautiful. And every 3 hours, you can stop and pause and breathe universally with anyone around the globe, and it'll tell you who else is on that app at the same time. It'll show you how many people from around the globe are stopping and pausing and breathing. So it's really, really beautiful. You can do it to meditation. You can do it in silence. Yeah, it's a fantastic tool. So if you need something like that to remind you and help you, then yeah, highly recommend it. So the sun is in gate 17 and it's anxiety over details. So we've come out of learning how to stop and breathe, right? Out of the 25. And now we're coming into all about the mind. And the 17 is actually located in your ajna. So in human design, it's the ajna, or commonly known as third eye. And we're in 17 from the 24th of March until the 29th of March. So that's till the weekend. And it is the path of farsightedness. And it takes us from those opinions to omniscience. What we can see beyond is the farsightedness. And it's actually one of the seven sacred seals. We've talked a lot about these last week because it was in Triple Venus's profile several times actually. So the 17 is another seven sacred seal. And in the sacred seals, it's connected to the second line, and the line of sexual wound or rage or denial. We can dive more into that, and we will, but we won't do that in this space today. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of information about it. So what it's about is it's a mystical group of gene keys, the seven sacred seals, and its collective role is to actually heal the sacred wound within humanity. So what are your sacred wounds that you need to bring forward to see those shadow sides of yourselves so that you can help heal the collective, heal yourself, right? And the 17 has taught me, because it's in my culture sphere or design Jupiter, it's all about laws and protection and what I feel like I can see far beyond through patterns and images, and how those opinions rule what I give and share. So that's just a little bit about just initially how it feels for me.
So, Kirsten, I have a question. Where did the
Yeah.
sacred seals come from? And to people who are new to gene keys and maybe even
Mm.
human design, like, can you share a little bit what's the difference between gene keys and then where the sacred seals came from?
So the gene keys are the feminine side of. So we would say that for me, I find that personally, human design is the masculine and gene keys is the feminine. And I find that we've got this roadmap in human design, that gene keys is the compass to guide us through that map. So that's a really powerful, they're two very powerful tools to be able to navigate through and go through that map with a tool that helps you unpack that information. And it's not for everyone, but this is how it's worked for me personally, to be able to guide me through and understand my human design through going through using the guidance of the gene keys and the language. And I'm very drawn to the feminine side, but I need to unpack that masculinity side as well. And the seven sacred seals are ancient divinities from way back. So I'd love you to go and have a look and research a little bit about the seven sacred seals, because it's far beyond, much deeper than just words. And when we think about the different modalities that bring gene keys and human design forward through the ancient I Ching, through the hexagrams, through astrology, through in human design, the Kabbalah tree of life, the science of differentiation, right? So they're very they're very powerful tools for us to be able to see deep within, and that's what I believe the seven sacred seals are, even over and above human design and gene keys. But they're another tool that can allow you to embody and understand the physical side of our body through these keys, so through the seven keys. So it's not all about the mind and understanding and the logic side. It's more understanding how, when you embody these, how your body reacts, whether it's through your bones, whether it's through your blood, whether it's really powerful, a
Wow.
really, really powerful tool. So with the 17, this is connected to the astral body, and the astral body being the wound of denial. So what are we denying ourselves? And through my star pearl, it's one of the four roadmaps, I guess you could say, through gene keys, the star pearl. It's in my design Jupiter in human design. And what it's showing me personally is about who is the tribe that I'm helping support, who is the tribe that I'm helping to share my gifts with. And when I unlock that and understand that the line 6 for me, because I have my 17 in line 6, it's all about the systems. And when I understand the systems and not share my opinions in an incorrect way. So if I'm sharing my opinions in the right way, then it's not so political.
Mm.
And I'm less about the anxiety over the details, and I'm less self-critical as well, because otherwise I'll be really critical on myself because I've overshared or I've been very opinionated about something, and that's what holds me back.
Mm.
It's a very
Yes.
left brain as well. It's mastering our left brain.
Yeah, so a little bit about this. And if anybody watching has the gate 17, let us know. If you know if you have it off a defined ajna, an undefined ajna, um, or you don't have the gate 17. Or if you have the 62 and you don't have the gate 17. So when somebody has a defined ajna, especially when you have this channel, you know what you know, and you know the details, and you have the opinions, and the details back up what you know. So I notice this as I know what I know, and I'm still open to learning certain things. But I will have like a lot of details and evidence and things that I've been researching because I'm a line one as well to provide my opinions. And so somebody else will have their opinions, and I can usually tell if it's coming from not self because it will be very like amplified and like trying to be forced, and it's like, well, I think this and da 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 da, and it's like it's just that magnification of like the not self coming through. So since I'm defined there, it doesn't really bother me. I'm just like, okay, you think whatever you want to think, I'm gonna think, you know, what I think, unless somebody is offering me a different perspective and it doesn't feel forced or we're not like, you know, headbutting. But then you want to see if you have the hanging gate, if you have the full channel, if you are compromising somebody else with your full channel or you're being compromised with this gate. So since I have the full channel, I will compromise other people who have the hanging gate. And so with the composite charts, the person who has the hanging gate, it won't, or the full channel, they won't be as affected by and versus the person who just has the hanging gate, because
Mm-hmm.
that's where they're getting compromised and that tension is. But I just have been able to like recognize when that happens. And I'm like, okay, this is what's happening. This is what the aura mechanics of this are like. What about you, Kirsten? How do you recognize this with people you compromise, and then also people who, because like we know people who have the same channel as us. So how does that look for you?
Yeah, so as Lauren mentioned, I also have this full channel as well, the 1762. And the way that I compromise others is being super opinionated and just bleh, and getting, I guess, getting into my frustration too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's about really just being very, very mindful. And I totally love you, Megan, my sister. We had an argument over the Christmas period, I think it was, and it really hurt her. And I overshared and was over opinionated on something. And I had to stand back and just realize that maybe I just went a little bit too far. And she might have too. But yeah, you've just got to be really careful about how you share and the way that you share your opinions with
Mm-hmm.
certain people, because it can be taken the wrong way.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that's probably one of my most recent things that, yeah, that I've felt that it could have been handled a lot better on, probably on both parties, but yeah, definitely through myself. That wasn't a great experience. But then I was very self-critical about myself as well and how I went through that. And
Yeah.
then it was the anxiety over the details of what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So,
love that. Thank you so much for sharing that and just like being so authentic with your experience as well.
mm,
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that too. And you have a motor to the throat, so then you're getting extra, energized as you're sharing.
yeah. So the gift about the 17 is about the logical opinions and naturally seeing patterns and trends, but wanting to share those insights. And that is a gift. If I
Hmm.
can share with you all what I see and what I feel through the 17, then if it can help you understand it and for you to go, oh, wow, okay, that's maybe why I feel that or I see that or I experience that. It's because it's a very key component of the 17 is understanding the logic behind what you feel or what you see and being able to transcend that information. And with the 62 being the 1762 channel, the 62 will help you be able to see the logic side of it. And Lauren and I were talking before about, not if you don't have the 62, you might really struggle to be able to verbalize or interpret that information and share it with others. And then maybe you might seem really opinionated.
Or just miss the details, right?
Correct.
I know somebody, she's a friend and a client, past client. We've worked together a few times, and her personality sun is in 17 and
Mm-hmm.
off undefined Ajna. So she has a hanging gate. But she's really recognized for her opinions because she really shifts it into more of that omniscient farsightedness and
Yeah.
is really, really playful with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so as we were working together, sometimes the details would be missing about
Yeah.
certain things. It was a great concept, but we really needed to anchor in, okay, the details. And since I have the full channel, I was able to help her with that.
Yeah, amazing. And see, isn't it great that when you've got someone on the other side that can help you unpack that or be able
Hmm.
to see that it's really a left brain genius. So this is all about using the left brain and the technique to be able to see those fractals or understand the patterns and then allowing that information to evolve and see the insights through that and be able to share that without being opinionated.
Hmm.
And yeah, I've learned that it's about communities working together through listening and deeply listening. So this is one of the key takeaways from today is about how are you sharing information, but how are you listening to the information that's being shared, and not having any barriers as well by listening and understanding what that person is sharing. So it invites us to step into these boundaries of some of our senses, and some of you might know your six senses or your five senses, but the sixth sense of the 17 is about super consciousness. It's in our angelic circuit. So if you think about what your sixth sense is, being far-sightedness, it's about seeing things, right? And that's why we've sort of given you a little bit about seeing those patterns and seeing those trends, and then being able to share that through logicness. And the 1762 is the logic circuit of clairvoyance. Hello, Lauren. Clear seeing. And the 62 is the channel of organization. Can you elaborate a little bit about how that feels for you, Lauren, with that logic circuit and the clairvoyant side?
Yeah, so since I'm a projector, a mental projector with this channel, so I laser in, projectors laser into people. And so when I'm lasering in, I can get information and see patterns, and then can see how these patterns play out and get visuals and images of what's a possibility. I'm not going to say like it's definitely going to happen, but usually my intuition is pretty strong when I'm receiving this information, and I've seen it unfold time and time again with it. And um, with patterns, it's just and my previous background of being a behavior therapist, I studied behavior for like over 10 years and tracked it and saw certain trends and what will trigger certain behaviors. So like I already have that in my knowing as well. So when I'm meeting with a client or just people that I know and I'm seeing certain behaviors and patterns, then to me it just makes sense, because then it's looking at the future, because this circuitry is logic and for the future. It's not so much reflecting on the past. It's okay, well, where is this trend going? Where is this pattern going? What's the possibilities of how this is going to formulate? And so that usually will come to me with a lot of visions and knowing of things and people.
And it's part of the projected channel, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
about waiting to be invited to share
Yeah,
those
and it's like,
opinions.
because I can't tell people, oh, this is what I say without the invitation, because that's first, you really want consent with any sort of projected channels you have, even if you're not a projector. These still are projected channels,
Yeah.
so they get to be,
And as an MG,
invited out. Yeah.
I can project that information, and I do it out of love. I do it
Mm-hmm.
out of care, but it's about me stopping and
Yeah.
listening to the other person and not sharing those opinions until it's asked for or wanted for, or
Right. Yeah.
yeah. And so I have to remember that too. And like you said,
Yeah.
it's not you don't have to be a projector, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
because it is a projected
Yeah,
channel. So
because some people might be like, oh, well, I'm a generator, or I'm a manifesting generator. I'm in
mm,
response, or I'm a manifestor. I'm just informing. Okay, it you have to look at it deeper though, because if it's any sort of advice or guidance, it's usually projected channels. And so that gets to be invited and asked with consent versus, just giving
that's
it.
it. And it's about knowing the right timing to
Hmm.
share. So I, I was reading something that Karen Curry Parker had written, and she said, how do you feel holding back from sharing those insights until the right
Hmm.
timing is correct? So I'd love to hear from you all and those on the replay too. Like, how do you feel holding back
Hmm.
from sharing those insights until the timing is correct for you? Because it's a really big element of understanding when the right timing is to be shared information if you've been invited to
Hmm.
project that information through your opinions.
Yeah, exactly. And going back to the transits right now, it's really interesting to see how the transit show up for you. So even if you don't have the gate 17, it might be conjunct like one of your other placements. It might be causing an opposition somewhere. So you really want to see how this is playing out uniquely for you. So for me, it's showing up with, it's actually eclipsing my moon. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was like thinking about it because I'm like, oh yeah, it's because like eclipses, it's confusing. You can't see the full picture of certain things. And so like that's kind of how I'm feeling right now, especially like with my breath, like recovering my energy, um all that stuff. So it's like it's really spot on with how these transits show up and work for us. And then it's also conjunct my unconscious Mars as well. And so that's our unconscious Mars in Gene Keys is connected to our core wound. And so that also was in relationship and synchronicity with my breathing experience this weekend, right? And so like because I'm like I've done so much work like I can't tell you how many workshops I've been in, like all these things, daily meditation, da 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 da. I've never had an experience where it was hard for me to breathe. And that day with that transit, it hit the core wound. And I was like, without giving too much information away, because that's not what this is about, but it was like I was the only one that was affected that way. And
Mm.
so just looking back on the transits, I was like, it's just it always hits every time. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, wow, so that core wound came up for a reason. And that's how it
Mm.
played out.
Mm. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to move on to some keynotes. So keynotes is about sharing, which we have already gone through. So what are we sharing, and how? Would you rather be right or
Mm-hmm.
happy? And so I'm going to remember that one. Would I rather be right, or would I rather be happy?
Because our egos, its duty is to be right. Its duty is to keep us safe. And so what happens is we can get into this story of, well, I know better, or this or that, or I have all the evidence, da 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 da. But if the person is not resonating with that, then you get to be right, but that relationship is suffering. So
Mm.
it's like, do you want to be right and attached to your opinions, which is in the shadow, or do you want to see from a different perspective, which is the gift of the 17? It's seen through different perspectives. Because take, so just for an example, you're seeing one perspective from right here, but if you shifted 45 degree angle, you would be seeing a different perspective, literally. And so that's how it is with any situation. And so as we transcend our shadows, gate 17 asks us, okay, can I shift my perspective and see from a different perspective? And we don't have to attach to it. We can just try it on and see if it shifts us from victim mentality to being responsible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've got another question here
Yeah.
too. Do you give yourself the space to refine your opinions as the
Mm,
new information comes in? To
yeah.
giving yourself that space to think about those opinions as it's coming in. All right, we're going to move into a little bit of astro now, some astrology. So, gate 17 corresponds to the zodiac sign of Aries. It's approximately 21 degrees Aries, 27 in tropical. Um, and this adds the pioneering, forward thinking energy to the gate, encouraging boldness, informing, and then sharing those opinions. Is there anything more about Aries in the 17? Because remember, when the sun's in a certain gate or key, we all feel this energetically,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be in your profiles, in any of your blueprints, because we all feel this energy as it's transiting through.
Mhm.
So, anything about Aries, Lauren?
Yeah, so with the gate of opinions being in Aries right now, we might jump the gun with our opinions, right? Or thinking
Mm-hmm.
that our opinions are right. And so because Aries is fast, it does, but without thinking. It takes
Mm-hmm.
action. And so sometimes, depending on where this shows up, so in the sun, it will, you know, in the sun it is beneficial, but if you have it like someplace in your Mars like me, it can have premature opinions. And so just depending on the feedback that you get from your opinions, you'll see, oh, maybe I didn't, like Kirsten said, I didn't sit with this long enough, or I didn't consider different perspectives.
Right. Okay, now the 17 fun fact. We posted a little bit of information about this. So, the ancient law that those who wish to rule must know how to serve. And I had a little giggle to myself being the king archetype.
Another synchronicity.
Another synchronicity. So, how do I wish to rule? Through knowing how to serve others. And it's deep within my core about how I can help others because I'm all about if I can help others, then it helps me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not about self, I'm about others. And with the king, it kind of reminded me, well, who's the queen here? And something came up and it reminded me of something that I did on the late queen and looking at her profile and looking at her chart. And it's all about those who rule and knowing how to serve. And she had the 1762, the channel of acceptance. And so we sorry, the gate of opinion and then acceptance. And so it forces that owner to be quite straightforward in their statements. And you think about her opinions and how she shared them and about the logicness behind those opinions, and were they hers or was she told by others she needed to share that information, and what value was in there that allowed her to share this information. And the carrier of the 1762 channel from birth is inclined to study and master how they can understand other people. And I found this so deeply fascinating because, in correlation to myself, it's all about how I can empower other people so that it allows me to feel empowered.
It's interesting, and I'm just remembering that just now this full channel is really gifted in working with animals and training
Ooh,
behavior. I just
right.
remember this. Yeah, and I was like,
Okay.
oh my gosh, this is so resonant. And in the dream rave, the gate 62, I know we're talking about the 17, but the 17 plugs the 62 in the dreams. We get information from our guides, from messages from the higher realms when we're in not conditioning dreams. And I'm going like a little bit more deeper in human design, but when we're getting dreams through the 62, which is a portal, and we're sharing that, it's actually a very profound experience. Like, I did a lot of contemplation around this when I went through the dream certification, and it's really, and I see this in the awakening, our regular charts, it's really about being able how to communicate love, like how to love in a logical way, in details way, because the opinions are the shadows, and that's what keeps love separate. But from the farsightedness, from the omnipresence, that is love. There's no division of I'm right, you're wrong, this or that, this opinions, because we can see everyone's perspective, and then
Mm,
we have the details to back it up. And
mm-hmm.
it's not so much of getting attached to it, it's just sharing, right? sharing that experience.
Mm, yeah. Thank you for sharing that. It just made me think about the Queen with her corgis
Oh
and
yeah.
how much she loved her dogs, you know, and the horses as well. And working in equine and having all her racing horses, she was very deeply connected to her horses and her beautiful corgis. So, yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
It's about something else that came up when I was looking back at when I was looking at her chart some time ago. It's about a person who easily studies any complex structures and then being able to explain them and use examples through life patterns.
Oh
So,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that's another key code there, is
Hmm.
knowing how to explain those complex structures and being able to share it with others to help the other.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Lauren, we're going to change it up a little here. So I've got a question here, just a reminder of how do you feel holding back your insights until the timing is right? And then how would you explore 17 for the rest of this week? Because remember, we've got this
Mm.
until this weekend. And what's going to be coming up for you? We'd really love for you to be able to share with us those deeper insights and how you feel like that is showing up for you. And we really want to uncover whether it's through life, whether it's through business, whatever it might be, in whatever way. So I think we've almost come to the end. If we've got any questions, we'd love to be able to answer those. We're going to share very soon what's in store, a little bit about day 3 for next week, and just a friendly couple of reminders about contemplations, those couple of questions that we've spoken about also. So have we got any questions there, Lauren, at the moment that anyone has?
Not that I can see. And
Okay.
if anybody has any comments too of noticing if you have gate 17, if you know people who do, anything about this channel, we really would love to hear your feedback. And also with the current transits right now, we are so Venus, Mercury, and Neptune are all conjunct. And conjunct means they're all on top of each other, they're all sharing the same gate. And since Venus and Mercury are in retrograde, that is a slowdown right now. It's a time to reflect, it's a time
Mm-hmm.
to pause. So it's like reviewing how we're thinking about things, our
Right.
opinions, right? And um, what gets to be improved. It could be with business, it could be in how you literally communicate. It's just a more inward time. Things might not feel as clear in your thinking. And then Venus is all about relationships, it's all about your own self worth. It could be values, it could be money. And that's also retrograde. So that's taking a time of review as well. But with Neptune conjunct these positions, it could be acting as sort of a distractor. It could be a little bit disillusioned because Neptune can provide a veil to certain things. And it could also add to what we've been in denial about.
Mm.
And as we're going to experience, it's a partial
Partial.
solar
Yeah.
eclipse this
Yep.
weekend.
Yeah, in the new
So
moon.
I was listening to an astrologer because I'm like, well, what happens when you have an eclipse and then you have retrograde energy? It's sort of like um, two two opposing things because eclipses really speed things up, but then retrogrades slows things down. So I was listening to an astrologer mention that um, it, certain things might be paused that were meant to be speeding up and stepping into. And so when Mercury and Venus go direct, then that's when it happens. That shift happens. Or
I'm
it could
definitely
just
feeling
happen.
that right now. I'm
Yeah.
definitely feeling like the process of everything is speeding up. If anyone else has felt that, we'd really love to hear from you, even in the replay here. That is it feeling like you're really being pushed, like push, because we're ready to stop and slow down? And I know that's where you're at, Lauren, at the moment, is needing to stop, recharge.
Yeah, Kristen's like, "Do you want to postpone?" I'm like, "No, what am I gonna do? Just like lay in bed and do nothing?" I mean, like, yes, us projectors, we need to. And this is like where I get to experiment more with and like, okay, how much can I rest and just be like in the okayness of that? And when is it too far? When do I feel revitalized? All the things. And it's an experiment, right? Especially in
Mm,
an energy world right now.
mm,
We're still in this process of getting closer to 2027 where projectors will be really needed and recognized for our
mhm,
guidance.
mhm.
So yeah, it's all unfolding right now. And then I
And then
also
it's sorry, Lauren, to interject there, and it's also moving into 21. So we're 17. We're finishing on Saturday if you're in the southern hemisphere. Sunday if you're in the northern hemisphere. Then be moving into 21, which is the gate of self-regulation.
yeah,
So just a friendly reminder that we're feeling this transit until the weekend, and then going into that partial solar eclipse new moon over the weekend.
yeah. And so it will be in Aries. The moon will be in Aries, right? So you
Mm,
want to see, so my moon's in Aries, so I'll be feeling this. You want to see where Aries is coming up for you. And then
mhm,
also with the eclipses, as a reminder, the nodes are in the south node is in Virgo, and then the north node is in Pisces. And so other things might be getting activated right now that don't necessarily feel like Virgo or Pisces, but they are being influenced. We just have a lot more activation and energy around Aries right now because that's the season we're in.
right.
And there was also one other thing that I wanted to mention. Oh, yeah. So the astrologer that I was listening to, she said that you want to look at the cardinal signs that you have in your chart anywhere between 4 to 14 degrees. That's where it's going to be affecting you. So I went through my chart. I'm like, oh, like I have 3 or 4 places. So anytime with eclipse season, like it can just be sudden shifts, like out of nowhere. But it's certain things that have been building up that you might not necessarily been wanting to look at or accept, or you don't you haven't had that 100% like clarity or confirmation, and then it
Right.
hits you like in an eclipse, or like a door opens or a door suddenly like shuts. So, but
Mm-hmm.
some people may or may not be affected by this, or it could happen and show up after the retrogrades go
Right.
direct.
Yeah. Yeah. So ask yourself, where am I insightful and fully wise? Allow yourself to stop and pause. Um, and if you have any questions over this next week, we'd love to hear from you. A reminder, if you're watching the replay, just throw in a hashtag replay so we know. We'd love to be able to help answer some of those questions. We've got day 3 coming up soon, and that'll be our last day of sharing navigating the star codes, and then we'll be sharing something quite quite powerful at the end. A reminder for those of you that would like to enter into the prize draws as well. Do you want to remind them what they can do and how they can do that, Lauren, to enter into the prize?
Yeah, so just going back a little bit, make sure that you show up for day 3 next week with the gate 21. It's all about control, so that's going to be a really juicy one to go into, seeing how that shows up. um Yeah, and if you want to win this amazing prize, make sure that you follow my Instagram, Lauren Winslow, Kirsten's Instagram, Empowered Business Harmony, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, my
Mm-hmm.
head is like super foggy.
That's okay.
And our joint Instagram, Cosmic Harmony HD. Make sure you like and share this event with, you could post it on your social media with a friend, um, and and then comment shared, or you can just let us know and so we enter you into the drawing. Am I missing anything
No,
with
I
that?
think I
Okay.
think you've covered it all.
Yeah, and if you want a mini transit reading, let us know and we can do it live for you next week. Just send us your chart information and we can give you some insight of what's coming up for you in the transits. And if you want to go deeper and have your own personalized reading or work with me or Kirsten, we both offer specialized services in coaching and readings as well. You can PM us. You can go to the links in our bios as well and schedule something.
All right. Well, I think that's a wrap for today, Lauren. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and listening. We hope that you've been able to take some great insight away from transiting through this 17 this week and moving from those opinions with far-sightedness towards that omniscience, and see how that feels for you and let us know what's coming up.
Yeah, thank you all so much. And we're so excited to be on this journey with you and hear how it's going and all the things. And until next time for day 3, we'll see you later.
Exciting.
Bye.
Bye.